She's just pure trouble. I gotta get the dirt out of my kitchen. Oh, you just trouble. She actually peed in a pot of dirt the other day. The plant died, so we took the plant out, and the pot was about to go outside. And before that could happen, I look over, and she's sitting in the dirt in her pee position. No good. I've been looking everywhere for my gardening gloves, and I unfolded my mat so I could do a little potting up. And look what I found. Such a clever place to keep your gloves. So clever. It's great when you make your whole video and you haven't been recording. That's the day. That's the day. Hi, I'm Hannah. This is Sweet Fern Homestead, and welcome to Overwhelm Day. So Overwhelm Day, today is the day that I'm getting back on top of everything. I have piles everywhere, donation, jars to go downstairs, paperwork, books we're going through, dirt to plant in the milk jugs that I still have. We've got seeds that are hardening off outside and then coming back in and then going outside and then coming back in. We've got the seeds upstairs in the shelves that need to be potted up. We've got seeds that need to be started soon. It just, like, everything kind of got away from me. And so I'm using my just one thing today, but I'm doing it in like rapid fire succession. Today is the day I get a handle on everything again. I think that sometimes we try to do all the things and then do nothing well. So I am just gonna pick one thing at a time. One thing, get the donation stuff downstairs, go put the jars away, plant up the milk jugs, and I'm just gonna keep ticking through and get it done, because it's all very doable things that have piled up into my head, and it's just so heavy and it's so much. And I want to be able to breathe a little easier this week. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm starting with a pile of dirt that the cat messed up on the ground. There's another pile over on the rug that I'm gonna need to vacuum, and then I'll just vacuum everything. But the vacuuming will be like the icing on the cake. Once all the piles are put away, once all the stuff is figured out, then I'm gonna do that. We don't buy much produce ever, because we grow most of our food. However, the cat's playing with the top on the floor. However, in the winter, we do indulge in some of those plastic containers filled with baby greens. And I think we did it 3 times this winter. And that means that I have 3 containers to plant up. 2 have onions in them. They're coming up, they're beautiful. I have 1 more container. I somehow forgot to plant cauliflower, but maybe it was purposeful and I decided not to take up the space with the cauliflower. But regardless, I've decided that I want to plant cauliflower. So I'm getting the cauliflower going in that. It's late, but I'm doing it anyway, and that's kind of the thing. Just do it anyway. Now here's why this is so great right now, because the temperatures are starting to rise. We're gonna hit the 40s at night, 50s, 60s during the day for a pretty good stretch of time here. And so this little container is gonna act as my greenhouse, and it's going to allow these seeds to germinate when they feel ready, which cauliflower should feel ready. As soon as I get it out there, it should start the process. And then if we have some rainy days, everything will get rained. I think I have 6 or 7 more milk jugs. I'm gonna get those finished up, and then that's it for winter sowing. That will be it. Everything will be out there. But what I want to remind you is that we call it winter sowing, but you can do this whenever you want to do this. It's no different than putting a little seedling out in a greenhouse. You're making a little greenhouse for this plant to grow in. So you can do this whenever you want to do this. You did not miss any window of time. Go for it. You can plant a little herb garden right now in one of those containers. You could start some lettuce in those containers. My onions are working fabulous in there. I'm going to just show you how to prepare this. So you just want to take your box knife. You just cut a little X, and then I just take my finger in and kind of open it up so there's more of a hole. This is what allows water to go in and water it. And then you need to do the same thing on the bottom for drainage. You need to get some drainage. The reason I wanted to show you this is because this is a really good time right now to get something started, like herbs or lettuces, arugula, whatever it might be, peppers, tomatoes, and you can do it in here. And the reason this is so lovely is because it's so deep, so you can get a nice root. You can put enough soil in there to give enough nutrition until you're going to plant it into the garden or into like pots or whatever you're doing. And this acts as a little greenhouse outside. So all I did was fill that up about, I don't know, 3 inches or so. Maybe I'll take a little bit off. Might have been a little too much. And then you could plant this, so you could do this in half. You could do half and half. You could do the whole thing. I did onions in the whole thing. You could do a quarter, so you could section it off in quarters and just make sure that you label. So you could do like parsley, dill, cilantro, and like marjoram or, you know, whatever herbs you like. And you could get those started in here in this little mini greenhouse. Put a piece of tape on so the animals don't open it. And you can put that outside right now, somewhere sunny, somewhere it won't blow over. And in a few weeks, you will have the start of any plant that you want to get going. Pretty cool. So then you're gonna label this so you know what it is when you go to open it up. And then, you know, you can plant this however you want. You can do a dense planting, you can do a thin planting. I'm just gonna kind of scatter these. It's called broadcast sowing. I'm gonna cover them up with just a tiny bit of soil. Tap it down just lightly. And then I'm gonna water. And then for the last bit, you're just gonna secure this down with a piece of good tape. I use duct tape. That's it. You place it outside and wait. So then when it rains, or if you need to water because you're not getting rain, this is how it will work. The water will just go down into the drainage. And real quick, I want to talk about the dirt. So I have been using a combination of seed starting mix combined with a potting soil. I am probably next year only going to use potting soil because seed starting mix is expensive, and I've noticed that everything that I use with the potting mix just does better, especially for winter sowing. So if I'm going to do the bulk of my seed starting outside in the winter sowing jugs, then I'm going to need potting soil because they're in there for a long time, and the potting soil has the nutrition they need. The seed starting mix does not. I ordered a lot of seed starting mix in the winter before I made this decision, so that's why I've been combining it with the potting mix. You can add some perlite to it too to make it fluffier and lighter. This is perlite. Perlite is basically little rock, little stone. It looks like styrofoam. It's not. And it just helps everything drain better. It won't allow the anything to kind of rot in there or hold the moisture too much. It allows like a free flowing, breathing in that dust or something. Okay. Maybe don't breathe your perlite dust. That was weird. I feel like I can taste it in my mouth. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. And I'll just be kind of poking around and checking out my winter sowing. But really my day is just for loose ends. So I'm just gonna like tear through the house and get it done. So one of my other loose end projects that I need to do, because I have a bunch of these things sitting around, I've been curious how well these will work. So these are the things that you find kind of in those cubbies, those rows at Walmart or Home Depot, or I just saw them somewhere else the other day, I can't remember where, but oh, Ocean State Job Lot had them too. And I don't know how good these are. I don't know how well these will perform. So you can order a bare root peony online and it can cost you $30, $40 easily. This is $5.80, $5.98. So I'm just curious how these will do. So what I'm gonna do is I just decided to soak it for a minute just to kind of wake it back up, because I have no idea how long it's been in this. Now this has, you can see here, this has 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 eyes, and that's pretty good. That's kind of what you want to see. So I'm pleased with this. So basically I'm going to be putting this in the ground, and the eyes get covered no more than about 2 inches for where I live in a colder climate. And I'm just gonna do this in a pot. So I have the pot kind of half full. I'm gonna put this guy in like this, and I'm gonna cover it, and then it will just have a very small amount of soil on top. I'm going to water it in really well, and then where am I gonna put it? I'm probably gonna put this on my sun porch. I'm gonna decide where I'm gonna put this. I don't know where I'm gonna put this. That's basically the idea. So if you wanna play around with some of these cheaper or more inexpensive bare roots and bulbs that you're gonna find at these bigger box stores, you know, give it a go, but don't invest too much money, I would say. This will not bloom the first year, I'm pretty sure, and I'll be lucky if I get blooms the second year. So it's not something I'm planting for the now. This is a long-term investment to see if something like this will work. And then don't be like me and label your plants. I never label. I'm so bad at labeling. I ordered like hundreds of labels this year so that I would actually label, and I've done a really good job so far. But label your plant, and usually I pop the date on there too, so I'll probably pop the date on there just to give me an idea of, you know, the time it takes to see any potential growth that's going to come. This is just a nursery pot that I got something else in, and I saved these, and they make a wonderful starter pot for anything that you are growing or potting up. You'll find every year there's like gardening trends, like things that you notice people are doing. And this year definitely is winter sowing. That has been a big trend. And the other trend that I'm noticing is kind of pushing the limits on how early you can start to grow things. What are the ways that you can, you know, maybe skip that hardening off process, which this does that. How you can get things going and in the garden, maybe with row cover, so that you're getting an earlier crop, just really kind of pushing the boundaries on what you've been told. And I think that's a really interesting experiment to do. And I also think that every single year we're gonna find that things are different, and that we have to really just trust our intuition on that and our instincts. And you know, what is the earth telling me this year? What is the soil telling me? What is the sky telling me? What is the, you know, the weather trend telling me? For me this year, I've been trying to just focus on variety. How many varieties of things can I plant so that I'm constantly in awe of the food coming from the garden? It's not like, oh, here's another, you know, whatever, you know, here's another celery stalk. It's like, oh, here's a pink celery stalk, and oh, here's celeriac, and you know, different kinds of greens and different tomatoes and different peppers, just really exploring the varieties out there. What I get from my garden is not going to look like a grocery store. This is not going to be grocery store food. It's going to be really exciting and really beautiful. Anyway, I'm glad to be back. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.